in which the new market venture capital companies can operate with and will provide greater investment opportunities for rural areas that have been bypassed by other venture capitalists. These are only two of the examples of the many improvements that this will increase access to capital by small business owners. Despite these significant improvements, there are still some unresolved concerns with the bill. While I strongly endorse the efforts for the SBA to find lenders to make loans, I'm a little troubled that the SBA could still make a loan if no bank is willing to make such a loan. To me, it suggests an underlying problem, possibly with the loan package, and I don't think that the SBA should be making the loan. The disaster loan provisions included an authorization to make grants to small businesses rather than loans, and I recognize that FEMA provides grants to individuals but not sufficient grant funds to small businesses. And I'm not sure that we should change a loan program to a grant program, especially without any detailed findings that grants would have saved businesses during recovery from a disaster that were not saved by loans. And finally, we must recognize the current fiscal constraints. The deficit is an all-time high, and Congress is considering a number of potentially expensive programs. As a result, I'm concerned about the potential overall cost of the bill. But those are my reservations on the bill before us, and given the importance of the bills to the potential prosperity of American small business, the American small business economy, I support the bill being reported out of committee, and I look forward to working with the chairwoman to address these concerns as the legislative process moves forward. And again, I want to thank you for holding this markup, and I yield back the balance.
Thank you, Mr. Graves. Are there any other members that wish to be recognized for the purpose of making an opening remarks? Ms. Halverson.
Thank you, Chairwoman Velasquez and Ranking Member Graves for holding this morning's committee markup. The legislation that we're considering today will provide a much-needed update to the SBA's access to capital programs. All of us on this committee have heard from small business owners in our districts that have accessing capital continues to be a major challenge. So small businesses need capital to grow and create new jobs, but the credit crunch has made it exceedingly difficult for them to obtain loans. The SBA's access to capital programs are supposed to be a resource for small business owners when they have trouble getting credit from traditional sources. And unfortunately, we've seen a recent decrease in the SBA's loan volume. In FY 2009, SBA's made around 35% fewer 7A loans than it did in the previous year. This needs to be turned around, and we need action now. The legislation we are marking up this morning, the Small Business Financing and Investment Act, will reauthorize and enhance the SBA's access to capital programs so that they can better serve the needs of our nation's small businesses. I commend the chairman of the Finance and Tax Subcommittee, Mr. Schrader, for taking the lead on this legislation. And I'm also pleased that it incorporates my bill, H.R. 3723, the Small Business Credit Expansion and Loan Market Stabilization Act. The language from my bill will improve the SBA's flagship 7A loan program. It extends the provisions in the Recovery Act that reduced borrower fees and increased the SBA loan guarantee to 90%. We also raised the loan limit to $3 million, and I look forward to working with the chair and the committee to evaluate further raising the limit to $5 million, which is what I've been hearing from the committee and outside people that we need to do. We're also going to extend the ARC loan program, which was created by the ARRA, to provide small business owners with interest-free loans that are 100% guaranteed by SBA. The language from my bill will increase the maximum award from $35,000 to $50,000. To increase lender participation in 7A, the bill creates new rural and small lender outreach programs at the SBA. And finally, we're going to help veteran entrepreneurs by fully implementing the SBA's increased veteran participation loan program. So I think the bill we have before us today is a good step in the right direction, and I urge members of this committee to support it. Madam Chair, I yield back the balance of my time.
Are there any other members that wish to be recognized? Mr. Schroeder.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to thank everybody on the committee and everyone who's come before our committee and the testimony they've given to help us fine-tune the SBA programs before us today. Particularly enjoyed working with the ranking member and my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to help reduce the cost of this bill, recognizing deficit is an issue, and but still trying to make sure the lending markets free up a little bit, expand some of our opportunities around the country to get these agencies, frankly, in a better competitive position. And then the next step will be to instill confidence in the banks. We're not adding a whole bunch of new regulations that would hamper their ability to get involved. No strings attached. These are just opportunities to get small business going again, and really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this bill. Thank you, Madam.
Any other member that wish, Mr. Ellsworth?
Madam Chair, in the interest of time, if I could just enter a statement for the record, I'd appreciate it.
Without objection, so
Thank
ordered.
you.
Ms. Dolken?
Madam Chair, I would